Alright fellas, here we are back at Pokemon Masters, and today we're going to be looking at New Year's Wallace and Blacephalon, and doing a little overview for their character and kit and whatnot. So, this is definitely a very late video, because obviously it's supposed to be up yesterday. But, you know, if you'll consider all the stuff that I uploaded yesterday, I mean, obviously, there are more people that post stuff than I do, but I wanted to get this done, but background noise didn't permit it, so unfortunately I just had to go ahead and wait until today, because the only time of free time that I had without background noise was like after midnight, and I like sleep. Anyway, I digress. So we're gonna look at Wallace's kit. Claire's video should be out at least a few hours from now, so sorry for the delay and whatnot, but anyway, let's go ahead and look at Wallace here. So he is a field sync parrot with a special striker EX roll, and looking at his stats, he has 356 special attack, 155-ish in both defenses here, 650 health, 346 speed. So he's pretty much what you would say was par for the course for a fast special striker. No bulk, really, just a lot of damage. His special attack isn't like the most insane special attack stat ever, but it's definitely not bad. Like, you can definitely make some good use of it, especially because he does have the special striker EX roll, meaning he can go like what, 450 special attack if you were to opt to give him the special striker EX roll, which, I mean, I'll tell you why you probably shouldn't later, but we'll go into it later. Anyway, I digress. Obviously, he dropped today on January 1st. He's leaving on January 19th, meaning you've got yourself about 2.5 weeks to pull for him, as usual. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. He's a fire sync pair. Let's look at his moves. So looking at his moves, he's got It's Showtime, which targets an ally, and it raises an ally's special attack by 4 and crit by 3, meaning you're generally going to want to probably use this on him, but if you are in the situation where you are using him as a supporting character and you really want to buff another ally, you can opt to do so. Though I think most of the time, generally, this ability is going to go to you. The fact that you have options is definitely good, for sure. He has Shadow Ball for a 3-gauge move with 99 power, 20% chance to debuff special defense. Gonna be honest, you're probably unlikely to ever use this outside of super effective stages, and I'll tell you like why, obviously. But then he's got Hoenn Analysis, which is essentially Hoenn Circle. Well, it is Hoenn Circle. Special. 2-gauge move, 2 uses, and the maximum power-up, if I can fucking find it on here. Jesus Christ. Powers up special attack moves and sync moves of all allies by 10%. Can I zoom in even more? The quality of this chart's bad. I'm sorry. Each additional pair powers up. Okay, so maximum of 40% power and 14% damage reduction. I don't know if that's the same as Nate. I think Nate's is also 40% power, but I don't know if the damage reduction is the same. Either way, it's still an amazing buff, right? It's Hoenn Circle. It's good, right? Hoenn Circle is still a great buff. The only thing that's iffy about it is the fact that the Universe Circle was so good on Nate because he had a lot of partners to benefit off of. Like, you had Emmett, you had Signasuit Hilda, you had both Irises if you really wanted to run Iris, right? You had Elisa, you had regular Hilda. Not that these are like the most top tier options in the game, obviously, but you did have characters like that. And obviously, even characters like Leon and Dragapult who aren't on Unova were able to benefit immensely from it. Like, if you want to look at Unova's physical options, there were quite a few benefiters, right? You also had Hugh. Signasuit N is a decent enough benefitter of it, right? Like, you can go down the list here, and there's some pretty decent characters that can work off of it. It's like also N and Zekrom. A solid amount. But if you want to look at special Hoenn, there's actually far fewer characters that benefit directly off of this, especially from this year. Like, if you want to go to special attacking options, Roxanne's physical, Phoebe's a support, Nolan's physical, Liza's physical, Tate is your first real option. He's a good option, 100%, but you're going really down the totem pole here. Like, he released half a year ago, pretty much. Special costume Zinnia's physical, Lodge Steven, I mean, come on. He is special, but not really synergistic with Wallace. Special costume Steven's more supportive, physical, special nuker. So Wally can actually work, I think, relatively well, but you also have to opt to have someone that can help support Wally with his activating his buddy move, giving him the stats he needs, being able to activate his multiplier. So you have to consider that with Wally as well. Signasuit Brendan is a good support. Signasuit Steven is really where we get to the good benefitters of Wallace. Zinnia as well is a good benefitter, but she does still need her weather support and whatnot. Anniversary May is good, but then you're going really far down and you're getting into like Archie status, which he's like 2 years old. No, yeah, 2.5 years old, actually, I think. Yeah, 2.5 years old, man. God, Archie. And then you go farther down, it gets worse. So really, if you look at special Hoenn options, you have Summer Tate, Signal Suit Steven, maybe Signal Suit Wally, Zinnia if you really want to stretch it, Anniversary May is decent enough, and then Archie again if you really want to stretch it. And that is your best options for Hoenn characters that benefit off of Wallace's passives, right? So you got to consider that. Also, Nate had the Master passive as well, so you also got to consider that Nate had both his Unova Passion, or Unova Circle, as well as his Master passive, so there's that. But do consider, this is still a good buff, 100%, right? It's not bad. Anyway, going into his final move here is Strange Flames Mind Blown, which is his, like, funniest part of his kit, we'll say. It's a 4-gauge move, 200 minimum power, and it targets all enemies, and the activation condition is when the user uses any move once and it cannot be deactivated. It increases the user's special moves next by 0 to 10 ranks at random. The higher the rank of the effect increase, the lower the chance it will activate. These numbers I'm pretty sure are about correct, but add 1 decimal point to most of these. I think this is 0.1, this is 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. I think this is 1%, I think this is 3%. I could be wrong on those numbers, but I think that's about right. I could be mistaken, but either way, the point doesn't really change too much. These are the lowest chances of happening. These are the highest chance of happening. 30% chance for 0, special moves next, 20% chance for 1, 20% chance for 2, 15 for 3, etc. Going, keep going, right? So that's the thing with Wallace, is that you can roll stupidly good luck and get like plus 10 special moves next, but you could also roll bad luck and get 0 special moves next. The average that people have calculated, I think, equaled out to 1.7 special moves next or something like that. So you're averaging about 1 to 2 special moves next every single turn, which is not bad, 100%. And obviously there's going to be, you know, the outliers in the data where you could hit 4 or 5, but of course you could still hit 0, right? So either way, Wallace is able to do a lot of damage either way. 200 base power move, all opponents, is not like a soft hitting move in general, but the fact that you're already stacking 1, 2, 3 consistent special moves next on top of it means that Wallace is going to be doing even better damage, which is pretty damn good, right? Especially off of his decent special attack stat, especially with the Striker EX roll if you opt to give it to him. Not bad. And then he's got the max moves with Max Phantasm and Max Flare here. He's able to set Sun with Max Flare, which is really good because his only other method of setting Sun is the field roll, and of course with the support. Max Phantasm lowering defense if you really want to, but again, I don't see a reason to use Max Phantasm outside of if it's like a super effective move or something. I think Max Flare is really just going to be your better play. Anyway, I digress. Let's look at his passive skills. With he's got Max Countdown 2, reducing Sync Countdown by 2 after using the Max move. You can also combine this with like Head Start 1, Adrenaline 1, or something like that if you want to get some sync ramping going on, because that's definitely not a bad idea. Also, if you are having like, let's say you're on the infinite field effects parameter and you want to really just start out with his max move, you don't really care about the lacking damage that you'll miss out on, you can use the Max Flare, and then I'm pretty sure you can end up quad queuing your move after that in order to get a lot more sync countdown. I can't speak, but you use Max Flare, 2 moves with other allies, your Max Flare would use, and before the enemy could queue up their next move, pretty sure you could queue up his, I don't know, Shadow Ball, Hoenn Analysis, whatever you wanted to do, and that would trigger your Max Countdown 2, and then you could also have Head Start 1, and that could that could allow you to skip a sync cycle if you opted to do that, of course. Really, that's just up to you. Anyway, I digress. He's got KO opponent special boost to 9, increasing the user's special moves next by 2 when it knocks out an opponent with a move. This is mostly useful in a stadium scenario, obviously, or I guess high score event, but fire's already passed, where you would take Wallace, you would go against an enemy, you would use a Strange Flames Mind Blown, or you get a support or whatever it may be, special defense debuffs, however it may works for you, by whatever method, and Wallace would KO the sides with his Strange Flames Mind Blown, get his 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 special moves next from this. Then once those sides go down, you get an extra +2 per side, meaning you got +4. So the way that I see Wallace realistically being able to work, other than using the max move, because you could also use the max move in order to KO a side, get yourself that +2 special moves next, probably KO the other side with that next boosted Strange Flames Mind Blown, get that +2 special moves next on top of your Strange Flames Mind Blown's special moves next there, and then KO the middle that way. There's a lot of different ways you can work this passive, but really the most straightforward way is you would just spam your Strange Flames Mind Blown, KO both sides since they have less HP than the middle, gain +4 special moves next pretty much at the same time, and your Strange Flames Mind Blown buff, and then you would KO the enemy with like +5, +6 special moves next. That's pretty much the way that I look at it, and it's definitely a way that is very straightforward and can work probably relatively well if you opt to do it that way. So I guess you could consider that, obviously. So this is definitely a good passive, 100%, as it makes abuse of his multi-target hitting skill, which is definitely nice. And of course, his ability to do nuclear damage, no pun intended, in an instant with max flare, if you opt to. And then his final passive is Mind-Blowing Illusion, activating one of random several effects after using the max move, which is Endurance, free moves next, damage guard next, super effective, gradual healing, or critical hit next. Obviously, the best to probably pick up would be Endurance, free moves next, or damage guard next, I would say. Free moves next is not that great if you have good gauge on you already, but of course it is a 4-gauge move. He is fast though, so again, gauge could not be a problem. Endurance is obviously universally good. Damage guard next is good for a straight AoE attack or something. But these other abilities I wouldn't say are immensely useful. I mean, gradual healing could be solid and like even like a gauntlet or something. Super effective next is okay, I guess, against super effective stages, though he really is going to obliterate those with no problem as is. So yeah, I wouldn't say this is an immensely useful passive, but it is something. Endurance, free moves next, damage guard. Those are pretty solid abilities to be able to activate. But really, the best part of his kit is the Strange Flames Mind Blown with its special moves next at random buffing. Its base high power. Obviously, the Hoenn Circle for special allies, which you can find some decent partners to work with him, such as obviously Neo Champion Leaf. She's his best partner, being able to set Sun, do some solid damage with her Sync Nuke. Solid damage. Great damage, obviously. Debuff stats for him and whatnot as well. They benefit relatively well together. You can run them with Leon, Signasuit Red. Some of these special fire characters can also benefit. And again, obviously run them with Signasuit Steven, Summer Tate. Those are also characters that can benefit relatively well off his Hoenn Circle. And then Shadow Ball's solid with super effective damage. And he's got support. Anyway, let's look at the grid here for Wallace. If you want an overview for Wallace at 1 out of 5 and how good he is, I would say he's pretty solid. I'm not going to say he's the best character ever. His Sync Nuke is not worth anything, especially with it having zero multipliers, but his damage could still be pretty damn good at 1 out of 5, I would say, but he does gain some stuff at 3 out of 5 that I think is relatively impactful. Going to 1 out of 5 grid, he has nothing other than Move Gauge Refresh on Buddy Mind Blown, we'll just call it. 2 out of 5 here. Can this stop? My mouse likes to double click a fucking lot. Okay, that's just annoying. Anyway. Going to 2 out of 5 here, he's got 1 with the Sun, which prevents flinching, confusion, or trap in Sun, Speeding Sun, Healing Sun, Gobsmack 4, Move Gauge Refresh 5 on Strange Flames Mind Blown, Shadow Ball Honor Roll, Shadow Ball Super Duper Effective, and Trend Move MPR. And I guess Gauge Refresh. Obviously, the Gauge Refresh stuff is pretty normal stuff. I wouldn't say it's anything super impactful. Gobsmack 4 is really just because they like to keep giving confusion to us for characters that need a status condition, or sorry, a status change, or fucking Yuxi, pretty much, because he can obliterate Yuxi with the Shadow Ball. 1 with the Sun to just obviously prevent those status changes and whatnot is nice. Speeding Sun and Healing Sun for the healing and gauge sufficiency in Sun is definitely not bad. Like for a solo or something in a legendary gauntlet, that may be good, or a duo at the very least. Trend Move MPR is probably not going to be too immensely helpful. It's just extra buffing. But if you do really want to use him in the support role, but you still want to buff him, this may not be bad to pick up. But again, most of this stuff is more niche. And then Shadow Ball Honor Roll 2 and Super Duper Effective 5 are probably your best nodes for a total of a 60% chance to debuff Special Defense with Shadow Ball, and then Super Duper Effective 5 for super effective ghost damage. But yeah, you can use the Shadow Ball Super Duper Effective 5 if you really want to do some good ghost damage, but again, this is just for Ghost Week stages. That's it. And really, if you need help with Ghost Week stages, just don't use Wallace. You don't need Wallace, rather, sorry for that. He can definitely work fine, but obviously with the free Victor, you've got Giovanni, you go Agatha, and Chantal are amazing ghost options now. He's not necessary for ghost damage. Anyway, I digress. Going on to 3 out of 5, where he's going to get everything else. He's got Charging Sun 3, which is his probably one of his best multipliers. Max Flare plus 100 power, which is good as well. Obviously, both Sync Nodes, Brain Power, Soften Up 1, Shadow Ball Brain Gain and Max Phantasm Boost, Trigger Move Ramp Up, and Hoenn Analysis NPR. Pretty much it. His best multipliers and nodes are definitely Charging Sun 3 and the Max Flare 100. The sync nodes are not worth anything because this guy has probably the lowest nuke power of any striker field sprints, all of it, outside of support released in 2023. Even though he is a 2024 character, but like, come on, man. You're starting off with a really low nuke. Because literally, his only multiplier is brain power. That's it. Brain power in the sync nodes. He's not going to be hitting hard. The only reason you would use the sync move is to set Sun, and that ain't worth it. If you want to set Sun, bring Signa Suit Morty as a support and use Support EX, or bring Neo Champion Leaf and use her nuke. Those are your two ways to set Sun. You don't need to use this guy, and if you really need Sun that bad, you got Max Flare. Come on. No, I would not recommend picking this up. Your best absolute abilities to pick up is definitely just the Charging Sun for the 30% power buff on your Strange Flames Mind Blown, and the Max Flare power node for extra power on that. Other than that, pick up whatever you want. You've got 31 energy to use, and these are the only good nodes that he has. I don't know if the 30% power buff is like necessary or anything like that, but really, I would say that Wallace's grid for specifically doing the most optimal damage is not that great. Charging Sun 3 and Max Flare power up are pretty much the only things I would say are worthwhile to pick up. Everything with Shadow Ball here is pretty much niche or relegated to super effective damage. Super duper effective 5 on a roll, not really needed. Brain Gain is not bad, but Strange Flames Mind Blown has a 30% chance to fail, and that's it. 70% chance to give you +1 special moves next or better. I would say that's better than Brain Gain 9. Max Phantasm power up, I don't know why you would use that if you have Max Flare. So, yeah. Other than that, I mean, you could go for Trinity Move Ramp Up for self-sufficiency, plus that X special attack right there if you really wanted to. Then you can maybe pick up Hoenn Analysis NPR if you need to do a long battle. That's not a bad idea there. Or, of course, you could just take your energy, go for X special attack here, or special attack power here, and then go from Strange Flames Mind Blown power, whatever you want to do. Really, I'd say this is probably your most optimal grid for Wallace. Wallace does not do a lot, but if you really want to go for the nuke, I mean, you can opt to, for sure. Brain Power, pick up Gobsmack, you don't have to pick up Healing Sun. I mean, if you really want the nuke, I think this is about what you're working with, for the most part, right? Yeah. Can't really think of much. I mean, you could change around the grid, I think, a little bit. Yeah, that gives you a little bit more energy to work with. No, that doesn't even like connect the sync node. Never mind. Either way, yeah, the nodes, even the nodes for his brain power are pretty interfering with everything else he wants. So I mean, yeah, just go for the Charging Sun. I would say that Wallace's grid is probably among the worst. One of the worst of at least sync pairs released recently, at the very least. Even Neo Champion Rose's grid is a little bit better because Wallace really only gains 2 things that I think are immensely worth picking up, which is the Max Flare, and that's even iffy on itself, and then Charging Sun 3, which is a 30% power buff. Yeah, Wallace is a great sync pair, 100%, but that's because all of his stuff is in his base kit. His grid does not really do all too much to help on that. If he got, like, another thing equivalent to Brain Power, such as, like, whatever the sync nuke equivalent of Brain Teaser is, because I think Brain Teaser is for DPS? I don't remember. I don't remember multipliers, man. But if you got, like, the nuclear version of Brain Teaser, the nuke version of Brain Teaser, then he probably would actually have a viable nuke, and that way you could actually pick that up. Like, replace fucking, I don't know, something with it, man. Come on. One of these things. Maybe, like, one with the Sun. Replace it with that. You've been doing a little bit better. So, yeah. Either way, though, this is it. So, yeah. Wallace, great sync pair in his base kit. Grid, not really all that amazing, but if you want to go to 3 out of 5, Max Flare and Charging Sun 3 are really what you're looking at, and then Trainer Move Ramp Up 2 if you really want Max Special Attack that quickly. Go for that. Have fun. That is my overview for Wallace. Have fun if you're going to pull him. He does look like at least a fun sync pair. He does seem to be good as well, but mostly more of a fun-to-play character than a meta hype character, so to speak. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you all later. I hope you all enjoyed. Good luck on your summons for Wallace. Good luck on your saving. Good luck on your summons for Claire, whatever. Yeah, I'll see you all later.